it's you. You'll be nice and supportive, huh? You'll give me a good. Well, Joey, it's great to see you today. How have you been?
Good.
Good.
Good to see you.
Well, as I mentioned, the purpose of our meeting today is to really just position myself as a resource for you to help you achieve your financial goals. Now, what I'd like to do, with your permission, of course, is ask you some questions, really get a better picture of where you're at financially and where you'd like to be going forward, what those priorities might be. Now, hopefully, the result of the work we do together is that you'll have a better idea of where you're at, a real sense of where you're at financially, and I'll have a better idea if I can help you out. How does it sound?
Sounds good.
Good. So at this point, if I'm in your shoes, I probably have some questions, like who are you, what do you do, who do you represent? So, of course, you've known me for a long time now, so you know my story. But I'll tell you a little bit more about the company I represent. I work with New York Life and Life Securities. You've probably heard of them, most people have.
Yeah, we've seen those great commercials.
Yeah, sports, college football, right? That's when they seem to be on, so I never see them. But basically, we've been in business over 168 years. We have a proven track record in the financial services industry, and actually we've paid out billions of dollars in both living and death benefits over those years. Something interesting and important to know too is that we have surplus and asset valuation reserves of over $18.6 billion. That's a big number, so let me put it into perspective for you. Let's say everybody that had an account at New York Life or a policy had cash available and they took that cash out. We would still have over $18 billion sitting there to run the company. It's pretty strong. So I think part of the strength is due to the fact that we're a mutual insurance company, and what that means, if you look here, you'll see, that means that our policyholders actually share in the ownership of our company. So we're not in a position like you might see with a publicly held company where we're having to answer to the short-term desires of the stockholders. We're in it for the long haul, making decisions specifically for our policy owners. So that's really where our focus is at. You can also see down here we have some of the top ratings from the key rating agencies out there, and Fortune magazine has actually ranked us the world's most admired insurance company. This is something for you to keep. Any other questions about the strength of New York Life at this point?
No, sounds strong.
Very good. Okay, so the process that we use to help you is called the financial needs analysis. This is where we take a snapshot of where you're at and really identify what your goals might be going forward. So I'll show you what they look like. The key to any good financial plan starts here. This is the protection phase. This is where we lay the foundation for our overall plan. Now over here you'll see these might be some of the things you'll be tackling during that time. Of course you'll want to protect your family's lifestyle. Now this might also be when you start a savings plan, and you'll also be meeting growing family needs at that time, okay? This is where we deal with the what ifs in life. Now, once you've accomplished that, you're able to have the peace of mind to move forward into what we call the accumulation phase. So you're going to continue to save and grow, and you're also going to keep protecting that retirement and savings plan. But now you're going to start saying to yourself, how am I going to have income in retirement? How am I saving for that? What is it going to look like? And then at some point, we're all going to pass through to this distribution phase here. Now, the biggie is, again, generating income in retirement. I would say one of the greatest concerns for most of our clients is making sure that the lifestyle they have today doesn't change significantly when they meet retirement. The other thing you see is leaving a legacy. To some people, it's really important to leave something to kids, grandkids, maybe even a charity that might be important to you. The big thing though is we want to protect the retirement plan. Probably one of the other great concerns in retirement is outliving our plan. So there is a problem though. The key to the foundation, as I said, is starting here with the protection piece. Well, when many people start this process and they're building their financial house, they do it by just placing these products, and I listed a whole bunch of different insurance products and financial services products over here. When they do that, just randomly placing the products, they're not truly building a foundation, and there's a strong chance that their plan could fail or fall short. So we want to make sure that we stick within these guidelines of going through this process: protection, accumulation, and distribution. All that said, Joey, where do you think you see yourself now in this pyramid?
I like to think I'm pretty protected, so accumulation.
Oh, really? So you've already actually moved through to here. That's awesome.
Moving on up.
Yeah, you're moving on up like George Jefferson. I like that. Okay. So this is our financial security, and we like to think it's usually built on 4 separate types of assets. The first one being personal assets. You can see it all goes into this funnel. Personal assets might be your checking and savings account if you own a home, maybe your car if it's paid off. Then you have business assets. Now, I know you're not a business owner, but if you were one day, this would be part of that. Also, if you work for an employer that has 401k, pension, and you're contributing to those things, this could also be an asset in that bucket. Now, life insurance is in that bucket as well, assuming it's the cash building kind. We've also got government programs. When I talk about government programs, most people think Social Security. What are your thoughts on Social Security?
I'm not gonna get enough from it.
You don't think so?
No.
People like me are probably gonna spend it for you, huh?
Yeah,
It'll be
thank
gone.
you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. A lot of people say that. I hear clients all the time say, well, I don't know, I guess I'll count on it for dinner and a movie. I've had more than one person say that to me. The real question here, though, is how full is this funnel going to be? Maybe more appropriately, where do you think you'll be? Talk a little bit about this interesting study. So in 2010, the US Census Bureau and the Social Security admin did this study, and these were their findings. 100 people starting work today, at age 67, the following situation might exist. 12 are deceased. It's very sad, but it's something we have no power over, and there's just a probability that certain people won't live to see age 67. Then you have 13. 13 of these people have incomes of less than 15 grand a year. Keep in mind that's below the national poverty level. It's pretty scary, huh? Also, that's about $1,200 a month. If you think about that, that's probably where you were at right around the time you were starting your career. It's pretty tough to stay independent making $1,200 a month, huh?
Oh, yeah.
So then we have this big 66. 66 of the 100 are here, making incomes between around $15,000 and $65,000 a year. What I want to point out here, though, is that the median income in this group is just $24,000 a year. Imagine working your whole life and living off just 24 grand a year in retirement. Then you've got 9. Just 9 people have incomes of over $65,000 a year. Now, I ask my clients all the time, I say, hey, do you think you'll be one of the 9? Do you think you'll have the security you want in retirement? The sad fact is 91% of them won't. And I am very confident that these others didn't plan to fail. They probably just didn't plan. So that's really my focus for you. When you look at this slide, where do you want to be?
I want to be in the 9.
Not this, right?
Yeah.
I haven't had anybody tell me anything different. So there are some concerns, there are some problems along the way, and we'll talk about those. Again, here's our funnel, but here's the problem. 2 siphons or drains are at the bottom, and this is what causes us to not reach our financial goals. I'm gonna hop over here for just a moment. In the event you were to pass away while you were saving and planning for the future, these would be your cash needs at death. This is what your family members would be dealing with if you weren't here. But the primary focus of our conversation today is going to be over here. These are the potential roadblocks that you're going to face while you're alive. We'll start out with the biggie, taxes. Everybody has to pay taxes. Our mission, though, is to make sure that you understand the system and how it works to be sure that you're not paying in more than you should. Also, inflation. What the value of a dollar is actually worth. This causes it to be worth less, and we have no control over that. The next thing that you'll see is bad investments. You hear stories all the time about people who lost their entire investment in one day. You might also end up having to worry about long-term care needs or disability. Let me ask you, if you were fully disabled tomorrow, do you think it would affect your ability to save for the long term?
Definitely.
I would agree, absolutely. So of all of these items, though, there are probably 3 that I would say really stand in the way of you meeting your goals. First one is saving to spend. A lot of people don't know what that means. So you're being diligent, you're saving money every month, you get a nice little nest egg, and then you spend it on a trip to Vegas or Disneyland or a new car. Can't get any traction that way. Then you end up right back where you started. Lack of discipline is another one that's really worth touching on, and a great example that I like to give is this. So it's the end of the paycheck. You've got 20 bucks left over. It's been a long week, you don't feel like cooking. I can cook or I can get the pizza. Well, if I don't have any discipline, the pizza is gonna win every time, and guess what? In the end, still no traction. Finally, the big T, we're gonna come back to taxes again. Now, taxes can really affect the way that our earnings are saved and really affect that final number in the end. What I mean when I say that is this. So think about it. Let's say you had $1 and it doubled every year for 20 years. What do you think it would be worth at the end of the 20 years?
I don't know, 100,000?
100,000. Add a comma, some zeros. Be worth over $1 million. Can you believe that?
No, I can't.
Surprising, huh? So now let's take that same dollar, doubles every year for 20 years, but now it's subject to a 28% tax bracket. What do you think it would be worth?
28% of that.
Good answer. 51 grand. Over $1 million lost to taxes just based on the 28% tax bracket. Incredible, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
It really is. So my mission is, of course, to make sure that my clients have as much money available to them when they need it. That's the key. Also, I want to make sure your plan is totally tax efficient. I mean, there's a way that we can do this effectively. So you said, if you remember, you want to be one of the 9, right?
Of course.
Okay, let's talk about how it works. 5 steps to get you there. Zoom in a little bit. Number 1, we have to identify our goals. Maybe it's saving for college, saving for retirement. I don't know. Maybe it's saving for a vacation. We have to identify it and put it down. Then we've got number 2. What we don't want to do is fall victim to analysis paralysis. Most of us don't have the resources to attack every one of these goals at once, so we have to prioritize, and that really helps. Number 3, though, I think is the most critical of all the plans. You've got to develop that plan and take action. What's sad is you and I could talk 5 to 10 years from now, and I guarantee your goals would likely be the very same. But if you haven't started work toward those goals, they're just dreams at that point. So that's my job, to make sure that that plan of action gets set into place and you get to experience the benefit of interest working for you rather than against you. So then we get here, and I would say this is the most critical area for me. This is where my accountability comes in. We have to update and review this plan at least annually. Okay, a lot of things are going to change in your lifetime. It's my job to make sure we get together and adjust and review accordingly. Make sense?
Yeah.
So here we are, finally, number 5, financial independence. That's when you get to reap the rewards of all your hard work, right?
Yeah.
Okay, only one problem though. It's time sensitive. So if we look at this climb, using my pen to illustrate here, it starts out pretty flat, right? If we're just chugging along, we're super young, this isn't too rough. But the longer we wait, the steeper that climb becomes. And at some point, you might simply give up. And I just wanted to flip back here to our pyramid. Hopefully this will kind of summarize it for you. Again, I want to help you build that foundation, which of course starts here with protecting with what we have. Then I want to help you save as much money, put it all away as much as you can as possible. And then I want to see you be able to spend it. And then once you pass, make sure it goes on to your heirs in exactly the way that you want it to. Does that make sense? Sound good?
Yeah.
Why don't we get started?
Let's do it.
Okay.